was fun. It was fun. But so we obviously have something to address, and that's why we're doing such a quick podcast.
Yes.
So this is going to be, I guess, the start of our Star Citizen Part 2 podcast. And I think there's certain things that we need to touch on the subject because some people, I think, might have mistaken what we were talking about as bashing a company.
No,
which is really
or
not
taking
what we were,
sides. Yeah,
or taking sides, which is not something we do. Just to lay this out really quick, both James and I are avid gamers, and we have had some experience within the industry. Nothing major. We've never made AAA titles. James?
Yeah, I worked on some. I worked on some Nancy Drew games, recording some multi-language.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure every Nancy Drew game to ever come out was a AAA title. No?
Oh, maybe I worked on a AAA title. I don't know. I've never played them.
I'm joking.
All I know is we had a bunch of German
joking.
and French people come in, and I had a person sitting next to me to make sure that their accents were legitimate, and we were re-recording all the English lines into multi-language packages and shipping them off to Germany. So
what an adventure that must have been.
Oh,
and
a week of fun, let me tell you. No, it actually was kind of fun. It's interesting to see it.
So,
yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Anytime you get to work within that kind of stuff, and I've done a little voice acting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's not even the point. The point is that we're avid gamers, and we're doing this as as something that we do because we've got our little YouTube show that we really enjoy doing. You should play this, and Dozer the PC Exposer, and Ain't Got No Game.
Yeah.
This is something that both James and I, we get to sit down at the end of the week and talk about all the stuff, all the goings on of the industry. And I think people think we were taking sides when we were talking about it. But this, you got to understand, when we read this article, it was fresh. It was 2 days old when we released the podcast. We read it that night.
Yep.
So all this stuff had just come out. And not educated on the situation is not the words I would use, because we read directly from the sources that we read from and formulated our own opinions. This isn't something that I take lightly when reading things. So we've done a little bit more research, and I want everybody to know pretty wildly that we're not taking sides on this at all.
We're just concerned. I mean, this is, Chris Roberts he's a big idol in the game industry. I mean, this is a scary. I mean, for me, just see him go out and do this and just hear about all these problems is like, it's.
Well,
I worry about him.
I mean, this is beyond. Yeah, exactly. And this is beyond something that this is something that's way out of our grasp of understanding as well, because. And also all the other, gamers. I mean, you're a fanboy of the situation. Because you're a Star Citizen supporter and you're excited about this game.
Yeah.
And all the other fanboys in this situation, fanboys, fangirls, everybody in this situation is either in vast denial, which is fair.
Yeah.
Or starting to read and see what's going through. And I think what I want to do is clear up on both sides that we're both fans of all these games in the series that he's worked on, but there's extreme concern needed to be expressed in this situation, and some of the points that we brought up. So we did a little bit more research, and because we do care about this stuff. This is something that we're really, and this isn't a podcast where Dozer and I are talking for an hour and we're actually talking about multiple things. We sat down, I was like, we got to sit down and talk about this more because this is more important. So this is strictly a Star Citizen podcast, and as long as this takes, in as many parts as I have to put it out in, I'm going to. So let's sit down and get into the crux of this.
Yes.
One of the major concerns that a lot of people are having is this too big of a game for him to take on?
Yes.
And there are certain sources. I got a truck coming by right now. That's all I can hear. There are certain sources and direct quotes and I want to get into some of these things, and these aren't like, and what was the guy's name we were reading it from?
Well, Derek Smith.
What was the name of the article?
Oh, it was
Derek Smith.
Yeah, it started with his blog posts, and then yeah. Oh, let me bring it up.
So let's get one thing straight on that too. And yeah, you bring it up, but let's get one thing straight. I don't know who this guy is.
Me neither.
I'm just reading what he's writing.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people have very strong opinions about him, and that's fine. And it has nothing to do with what we're reporting or podcasting about. But when you read something, you express concern on it, and some of the things he was saying are concerning. And I think some of the things on the other side in the Star Citizen staff really match some of the things he's talking about. They're just displayed in different notions.
Yeah, and even you're reading some of the quotes from, I was reading a Polygon interview with him. It's like, it sounds like even Chris Roberts has some real concerns, because Chris Roberts knows that this is probably one of the most ambitious video game things that ever been done. I mean, he's not just building an FPS. He's just not building, a combat simulator or a social media aspect of the game. He's designing on a level way beyond anybody other's ever done. And just to put this into perspective, this is kind of like an MMO on steroids. And an average MMO does take, $100 million plus to make. I mean, for example, and granted, a lot of these numbers I'll throw at you, Jeff, are video game people developers keep these numbers and a lot of this stuff close to they keep their cards close to their chest.
And a lot of people don't want to know because there's private funding and public funding, so people don't want to release direct numbers, and that's fine. But yeah, throw some of those numbers at me. Let me understand this a little bit more, because I know the Call of Duty series is it's a AAA title. Yeah. Although the last one I don't think was considered one, even though I think that might have been one of the best ones in a couple of years. Yeah. But what's the average on those? 60 mil?
Yeah, anywhere, you can go as low as 30, 60, 70 mil. And Call of Duty kind of has a formula going. It's like Call of Duty comes out every year. It's every November, everybody gets hyped up. And it's because they have several companies working on it, and they're kind of in a rotationary cycle. So about every 3 years, one of their company develops the new Call of Duty game. And it's fresh, it's awesome.
Exactly. And that's something that you notice when they come out, because you have the specific companies doing each one, the Modern Warfare series, to the Black Ops. Yep. They're all different companies doing it, so there's little subtle differences. People prefer some over the others. Yep. Some people don't care; they just want to play online. So in between those, they have a little thing that they're going with, and they're on a schedule.
And that's a different genre game.
2 years to do it.
And that's a different genre game. So an MMO, let's say, Star Wars: The Old Republic that came out, I think it was late 2011. I beta tested that and did stress tests on the servers. That was, upwards of $200 million produced, and
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but then again, the companies that are building those games, I mean, it's that's Star Wars. I mean, that's a huge thing. Chris Roberts, I mean, Wing Commander was big, but he was making video games. To put this in perspective, in the late 90s. The early in the late 90s, when these games were coming out, people were only spending $2-3 million, maybe $10 million, and they didn't have this insane marketing campaign behind them that they do now. I mean, now it's there's these huge franchises, and it looks more like a blockbuster movie they're producing, and it actually mimics a lot of this stuff. And a lot of the people don't realize when we're talking about let's say we take $100 million. Maybe 50 to 75% of that's a lot of marketing and PR. I mean, there's a smaller portion of it's actually going to pay the people to develop the game. It's mostly marketing and PR. And this goes true for a lot of movies too. You can have a crappy movie and it'll do well because the marketing and PR was there, and vice versa. You could have a great movie, and if it's not there, I mean, John Carter, not that it's an awesome movie, but John Carter was an example of a movie that should have done a lot better, but there was no marketing and PR for that, where it should have shone through, but it didn't. So it kind of goes both ways.
I feel the same exact way about Dirty Work.
Yeah. Awesome movie. No, but
it's a great movie.
yeah, and just also put into perspective.